Hello, everybody. This is your boy
Hi guys!
Gmillion. How's it going in the house? I am here with Factor the Game
And the
and
motherfucking
and
one and only.
Hector hexzilla.
What's up, guys? Welcome to CGR Console Gaming Radio, the only show where you can wear a wig that looks like fucking Elvis Presley and no one gives a fuck.
Exactly.
We have a lot to talk about today.
Exactly.
Um, we have a lot to talk about today. If you guys don't know, obviously you must be blind if you don't know because it's on the thumbnail. We're talking about the only Hawk that we know in this world, Tony Hawk, and we're gonna talk about some of the most fucking nostalgic games that I'm pretty sure everyone's played at one point in time. But before we do that, let's go ahead and jump into our real quick housekeeping, and I'll kick it off with saying I've been playing Doom because I did finish Doom, but
Finally.
my video audios got fucked, and so that's why my videos I couldn't edit it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, fuck my life. So what I'm gonna do is my last video, I'm gonna do a stream tomorrow, on Doom, and I'll probably end up finishing Doom tomorrow. So the live stream is tomorrow. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I'm thinking sometime the afternoon. Just check my Discord, and I'm going to do that. And also Sunday Night Stadia, we've been on a roll, man. Last episode was fucking hilarious. If you didn't see it, watch it. It was
I
fucking
said
dope.
some things that Hector
We're
wish
very
he
funny.
forgot.
We're very funny, yeah.
So,
So check that out tomorrow.
what
It's
up,
gonna be
Ray?
fucking
How's it
crazy.
going?
Oh, we got Ray on the chat. What's up, Ray? Big dog Ray in the house. What's going on, bro?
Thanks for being on our show
Thanks for being on.
on Sunday. So with me, been playing a lot of games. I'm continuing my retro series. I'm gonna
Yep.
give you guys a hint on the game that I'm gonna cover next. The game starts with an M, and one word that I'm gonna say, tree frog. And if you guys guess it in the chat, please don't spoil it. And
Free frog.
and the game's title starts with an M.
Free frog.
I think according to his smile, he might have gotten it. No?
You know, no clue. No. You're gonna have to spill the beans, man. Fuck the president. Damn.
Wow, okay. Wow, what did I do this time? I guess he doesn't like my wig. So other than that, been playing the newer games on Stadia. So I've been playing some what's it called? Power Rangers. Went straight into Power Rangers. I saw a stream on Power Rangers the other night and I'm like, fuck it, gotta go do some Power Rangers. So I did that and I'm gonna continue to play some Minecraft on my Twitch channel tonight, so feel free to follow me on Twitch, Gmillion2112. My goal is to be affiliate by the end of the month. Factor, what have you been up to?
Factor the game in the house, boy. What you been up to, man?
Well, thanks for having me back.
No problem.
Well, what I've been up to, right now going on the channel is for me is I'm doing my 100% run of Alan Wake, a game I've wanted to cover for years.
I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. Actually, you know what? Since I seen the Alan Wake on your channel, I kind of wanted to play it. I feel like when Garrett was playing Assassin's Creed, I ended up wanting to play it. But now that you're playing that, I want to play it. It looks pretty damn fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun game. It's been I've said I've played it in like 9 years, so I'm really glad to play it again. If you have Game Pass, it was just actually announced for it, so it should actually hit sometime this month.
Nice. Is it Game Pass PC or Game Pass just Xbox?
I think it's both.
Okay. Well, I own it on both, so it's like too late for me. But
you're a beast. That's why.
Exactly.
I'll still play Modern Warfare on occasion, and I'm starting my next game because I already finished part of what I'll do with Alan Wake, which I'm going to go ahead and jump back into Assassin's Creed with 3.
Perfect. That's dope, man. I'm excited for that. We got some big things coming here, guys. Now, real quick. Okay, I have one thing to say, fellas, before we jump into the whole gaming and shit, because we do have a lot to talk about. I have one thing to say. I know that a lot of people are not doing videos or not streaming or not, different things because they want to be part of the whole, Black Lives Matter protest and the blackout and et cetera, and there's the riots and all that.
Right.
What I want to say is for people that are doing that, that's fine, cool, and do it. But I I want to do this fucking stream. I just don't see a point in not doing it. So it's like, you know, we
Give
fucking
me
did it, right?
1 second, please. I may have to pause the stream.
I think we got 3 people watching right now. All right, so yeah, let's talk. Let's you know, unless you guys have something to say about the riots and everything going on, I know Gmillion has dealt with that on a personal note because of his work. Talk about
Yes.
that a little bit. What happened, man? Because I know you had to postpone your stream or something like that.
So, what happened was, they decided to riot, like, literally riot outside the government building where I work.
Oh shit!
So they shut down the pedestrian exit where if you don't drive, you can walk out and take public
Damn.
transportation or take
Okay.
Uber. So they completely blocked that off. They had armed guards making. I'm pretty sure it was rubber bullets, but I could be wrong. It's military, by the way. So I worked on a military base. So, and
Yeah.
they were rioting. They were protesting from downtown. They were going past the zoo, and I don't know what else they were doing past the zoo. So it could have been a lot further. So I actually had to figure out where the front gate was and get picked up from the front gate, which is I don't drive, so I had no idea where the front gate was, and that's where staff comes in that
Right.
can drive, because the emergency exit is supposed to be for emergency vehicles only, because that's where the
And
emergency room
you know
is.
what? Now that you say that, Factor lives where you live at again, man. Because how is it over there? Like, is it a thing over there?
No, I live in
Yeah.
West Virginia, and it's like still like nothing's happened.
Yeah,
Nothing's happening.
Nah, like the biggest town, like 15 miles away, nothing's going on with it.
Lucky you, because all I hear is all I smell is smoke here. If you guys don't know, I live like 10 minutes from La Mesa, which was the first riot in San Diego had. But now it's obviously going further than that, and it's getting crazy. But you know, we wanted to put something up because I just don't see why we wouldn't. It's a Tuesday night, and we're gonna put up we're gonna put up console gaming radio. So that's just what it is. But I'm glad to have you guys. Hey, you guys ready to jump into this Tony Hawk shit though?
Yes, if it's actually gonna let me do it, that's the problem. So,
Why is the stream fucking up?
yeah, it's still fucking up. But I have it on with no sound, so it should. So I'm gonna see what, you know, how it's gonna be. I just think it's gonna be poor quality until it actually is done processing. So, and if not, I have it, and if not, I'm gonna have it recorded. So I'm gonna record the important part. Now we're gonna talk about the Tony Hawk games, and so this is gonna be the important part that we're gonna talk about. What does Tony Hawk Pro Skater mean to you guys before we get started?
So, all right. So Tony Hawk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's a good starting point right there. If you guys play Tony Hawk, which, like I said, a lot of people have, I think a lot of gamers have in general. For me, just briefly, Tony Hawk, I started on the PS1 when the first one came out, Pro Skater 1, and it was one of my favorite games at the time. 2 I didn't really play as much, but 3 and Underground were my top ones. And the biggest thing about the nostalgic part is I was like a fucking 12-year-old kid. We never had a Tony Hawk game. We never had a skateboarding game. I've seen BMX and like motocross, and we had racing games, right? But we never had a legit Tony Hawk game at the time, or a legit skateboard game, right? And so at the time, I'm pretty sure you guys can agree with this, I was just like joining the fucking bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? At one point, I wanted to get a fucking like a skateboard and shit, and become a skater. Like, that's how much it impacted me. So,
Right.
Tony Hawk was just, man, the way that they did it and the fundamental key mechanics of the game, it's revolutionary. It was so damn fun. You can just play it on and on and on, and then it's fucking fun, and you can always top yourself. So that's the nostalgic part for me on Tony Hawk.
And what about you?
I mean, I would say for me, same about thing. Like for in this region especially, like skateboarding wasn't a thing. Like
Right.
I live in the mountains, so
Right, you live in the
when Tony
fucking
Hawk came
boonies.
out, like no, like what is this? Like this is different. Like I think we got our first skate park in West Virginia, but like in 2002, at least in the Charleston area, our capital. So it's like, holy cow, people are actually interested in doing this. They go out and do it. I personally wanted to. I was like 10 or 11 at the time, like you all were, but my parents like, no skateboard for you. You're too clumsy. I'm like, okay, I am, but probably safer than sorry there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What about you, G Mills?
Okay,
What's your little nostalgic trip? Let me hear this shit.
Okay, so my family is a BMX family. So both of my brothers were BMXers. So
oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is instead of us riding skateboards, we just rode BMX bikes in our neighborhood. They went to skate parks to do BMX stuff, and the skateboarders always give us shit about it. And so I played the first Tony Hawk game on the N64, and I did not like it at all. No.
Wait, you didn't like it?
No, I think.
What the fuck is wrong with you? No, I'm playing.
I'm thinking what it was the fact that it was on the N64 that I didn't like.
Right, and the N64, PS1 wasn't really anything better. I mean,
the thing is, the controls on the N64.
Right, that fucking
the controller.
Stick, yeah,
I had issues with the controls.
Right. It was very clunky. It was very clunky, and for a Tony Hawk game, I feel like you need to have a smooth control because of the game itself. So yeah, that makes sense.
So that's so playing that on the N64 kind of gave a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't get into the series until Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was out for a while because I got into the PlayStation 1 when the PlayStation 2 was out and you couldn't find it anywhere. So
yeah,
that's how I got into this series. Now we're going to talk about each game all the way up to
the remake. Basically, we're
gonna
give
pretty
you guys
much
the remake. So let's jump into this because I'm excited. Ready? Tony Hawk 1, 1999. Okay, that was when here's the crazy thing, guys. So Garrett actually has all the Tony Hawk games in the physical form, so he's gonna show you the case and everything as we talk about it. But Pro Skater 1, okay, so this is the most widespread popular game because it created the fan base, right? There were 10 playable characters. You can do, I think there was like 5 main components. I think it was like the jumping, ollie, kickflip, grinding, and then like
the holds.
The grab tricks, right? They had a special meter. The goal was to gain your high score. You could do Tony Hawk's 900 trick, which was a big deal at the time. He was the first one to complete that. There's 9 levels, like warehouse. You have school, skate park. The games were free skate. They had split screen. They had fucking horse graffiti. And let's talk about the audio itself. I mean, the audio was fucking banging. A lot of punk rock hits. They had Goldfinger, Superman, things like that. And then the 900 move itself was to help. So they extended that to the 64, a Game Boy Color, and Dreamcast as well. So that was when it was released. I don't have much to say about the first one other than it was fun because it was the first game that we seen. I played it repetitively because, it was fun and it was something that we never seen before. But it's not something that it's like, oh, my favorite game. It was just the beginning. It's kind of like the beginning of a movie that you really love. And then each sequel was kind of just like, okay, well, that's the beginning, that type of thing. So that's kind of how I feel about the first one. But it did have a lot of advancements as far as like, the actual skateboarding game. You can do a lot of things. So
Ray, the stream, I don't know what's wrong with YouTube tonight, but I even lowered down the resolution, changed the bit rate and everything, and it's still fucking up. So
yeah, I think what we're gonna do is let's stream it as is.
Then if it still fucks up, I'm just gonna upload the Tony Hawk part.
Right. Yeah.
So
just upload it.
Yeah. So that's what it's gonna be. I don't know. Like lately, YouTube's been fucking up when it comes to streaming. So Factor, what's your thoughts on Tony Hawk 1?
Tony Hawk 1 wasn't the first one I got into, but if you look back at it though, I remember the physics engine actually being very good, especially for that time period before physics were even a thing.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like the air time, the tricks, they're all fun. Especially like you said, the soundtrack is what made these games.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
The sounds and the music of the base game, not so much. You had that soundtrack on top of it. You feel like you're right there at home.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm actually gonna put it. I'm gonna write a comment in the chat just so people know.
Okay.
Because it's being weird right now. Fucking YouTube.
I
Oh,
know.
what the fuck did I press? God
So
damn it.
so my experience with Tony Hawk 1. I did not experience Tony Hawk 1. Well, like I said, my first experience was playing on the N64, but I didn't really get into it until I played it on Tony Hawk 2X, which is it has some of the Tony Hawk 1 levels in there and some
Yeah.
of the Tony Hawk 1 songs in there. So that was my first real experience with the first one.
Right, yeah. So it's just like that first
Mhm.
one, right?
Mhm.
Let's jump to Tony Hawk 2 though, real quick.
So Tony Hawk 2.
Tony Hawk 2, that's live in effect right there.
Mhm.
That is the second Tony Hawk. All right, this one was released in 2000, and the big differences with Tony Hawk 2, and this is why I liked it a lot, was there was a few big differences that we seen. Some of that was like the you can have a park editor,
Mhm.
so you can create your own skate park. Was a big thing that they added. They added cash rewards. If you guys remember, you can grab those little cash icons or whatever the fuck,
Right.
and it gives you money to buy more customizations and shit like that. They had more competitive challenges, and you can customize your character and things like that. They also added the manual to connect your combos, and they added Spider-Man. They started doing the special characters here, where Spider-Man was a big one at the time.
Mhm.
And then even to jump what Factor said with the audio tracks, fucking let me. I don't really listen to punk, but I know off the top. I just know these songs, just these people, these bands, just because I played it and it kind of got to me. I think it was like Rage of the Machine was in there. Rage Against the Machine was in there.
Mhm.
They had fucking Power Man something in there.
Flower Man
5000.
5000, one of my favorites.
Yup.
I saw them live recently.
Yup. They had Bad Religion was a big one. So they had a lot of good soundtracks as well, like they did in the first one. And then another note, the PlayStation the Tony Hawk 2 game was the first PC release that we seen. So Tony Hawk 2 was great. I just love the add-ons that they did. I think after Tony Hawk 1,
Mhm.
when they started realizing we have something amazing here. Let's keep the core fundamentals but add on to it, which is why
Yes.
it was so great the way that it was. So I liked it a lot.
What
I
about
don't
you,
know what you,
Factor? What's your
yeah.
experience with 2?
Two was actually the one I first played, which I did the 2X as well because I had it for Xbox at the time.
Mhm.
But like, they did a lot of great improvements. I felt like the controls were more polished. The game just had a better flow to it. The soundtrack was still banging. I mean,
Mhm.
I think what everybody would always remember, I think with the early Tony Hawk game, the only complaint they would have, it has an arcade style more than it has a real game feel.
Which
You know
is
what I mean?
back then when you're a kid, that's fine.
Right.
In fact, no, yeah. So like the 2-minute time limit to do your challenges. I mean, it fits perfectly from back then. So
Right.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, G?
Well, okay, so like I said, this was my very first Tony Hawk game that I really got into. I got it. I have it on the PlayStation, but I don't have the case on me, but I have the disc. But I have it on a Dreamcast also. That's why I grabbed the Dreamcast version. Um it was it was really good. Like my whole family got into it. My two brothers got into it because those are the only people in my family that play video games with me.
Right.
And you know,
And me now.
yeah,
Just
I'm
throwing that out there.
you're not my family.
Okay, fuck you then, Garrett.
But
God damn it.
but like I said, we got it on PlayStation when the after the PlayStation 2 was released. So what that meant was like I said, I was just playing it on my PlayStation. I like the levels, I like the hangar. I didn't really
Oh
get
yeah,
in.
the hanger was a fucking
Mhm.
beast. And warehouse, I used to rip it in both of those.
Yeah, and a lot of people said they liked the warehouse better, but at the time I didn't really play in warehouse.
Right, and that's more
So
of a Tony Hawk 1 thing, I think,
exactly.
is why people say that, because that was one of the first
Mhm.
skate like parks that you could do is the warehouse, like literally the first one ever,
Right.
basically. So yeah. So
And
but
ooh,
yeah.
Ray said fuck you.
Damn, Ray, bro, tell Ray, tell this guy. I'm fucking family, man. I'm family at this point. I don't care what you say.
You
We
weren't
all
family when
family
I was a
now.
kid. You probably weren't even born. You
No, I
youngie.
wasn't. I was still in the womb, still in the fucking
Probably.
egg.
But
Yeah.
then like that then after the Tony Hawk and I mean after the hangar and the school, the levels kind of opened up a little bit. I felt like you had to be more of a street player
Yep.
to enjoy too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm glad that they added the manuals and all
Yeah,
that
the
stuff.
combos. Yeah.
And if you had it on the PlayStation, you could play as Spider-Man. I don't know if you could play as Wolverine on the well. All I remember is you can play as Spider-Man in the PlayStation version of 2. I don't know.
I think Wolverine was you can only do it on the PC port of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't popped in 2 for a while.
Yeah.
Like I liked the chick in the game, even though she was pixelated. I was a horny little kid back then. So
That is fucking amazing. Best Tony Hawk line ever. I just like the tricks in Tony Hawk. That's why I play it, honestly. I just like that pixelated fucking ass, you know?
yeah, like you couldn't even see anything. They're all squares. So
That's
but
awesome. So let's jump into 3 real quick.
okay,
'Cause
3.
We're gonna jump into 3. What we got for 3G? Tony Hawk 3, baby. The motherfucking. This is when. Okay, so Tony Hawk 3 was in 2001.
Mhm.
I think this is when they released Tony Hawk 3. Because here's the thing, when we played PS1, you had the Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, but
Mhm.
when Tony Hawk 3 came out, we're talking about PS1 graphics, right?
Mhm.
Jumping to the PlayStation 2 graphics.
Mhm.
And if you look at the comparisons, because they actually had Tony Hawk 1 available for PS1 as well.
Mhm.
You can play it on PS1 and PS2.
Right.
If you look at the difference, the PS2 just was like graphically way more advanced. So I played it on PS2, but it was better animations, tighter controls. You can do reverts to land on like pipe and rams and manuals and shit like that.
Yes.
They added in the double kick flip. They added in the lip trick balance bar. If you guys don't know what that is, that balance bar when you're doing a manual or like a lip trick, it has that. They added that in the third one, which I think fucking god they did that, because holy shit, I don't know if you guys remember on like the first and second, you couldn't even tell when you were falling. You just kind of had to guess it, type of thing. You know what I mean? So they added that in there. They had earthquake and elevator doors, permanent changes to the environment. So like you had earthquakes, they would just have an earthquake fucking event or thing on the game. Elevator doors, you can go into the elevator, takes you to another part. Pedestrians was a big one. The pedestrians actually smack the shit out of you if you pass them, right? I don't know if you guys remember getting smacked up.
Yeah, in the airport.
Yeah, in the airport, and the police would chase you.
Yeah.
Yep, and then also they added Bam Margera, which at the time, Jackass, if you guys watched it, or like I forgot Bam Margera's show that he had.
Vita La Vam.
Yeah, Viva La Bam. That shit was a big thing at the time, the punk rock era. So they had Bam Margera in there, and they had way more characters. You could even play as the Doom guy. They had the Neversoft eyeball. They had Darth Vader. Same huge soundtrack, and actually this game was one of the highest rated games of the PlayStation 2 at the time. For me, Pro Skater 3 was almost like just like an advanced 2-in-1. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it was just adding on to what we already knew as Tony Hawk.
Right.
Not to say that it wasn't fun, because it was fun as hell. It was just added on, and they perfected it in that way. So I put a lot of hours into that game. For sure. What about you guys? Did you guys like it? What do you think of the third Tony Hawk, the Pro Skater?
When it comes to like those arcade ones, 3 is by far my favorite. I heard 3 also was that the first one they had the tournament setting?
Tournament, yeah, yep, yeah. It was I think it was the that was like second or third. I don't remember.
I want to say it's third, because I remember the Rio de Janeiro one. That's what I've always played on.
Yeah.
That was like what I would go to every time I played Tony Hawk, and it's just like, I mean, that's the pinnacle of Tony Hawk. Heck, I remember. You guys watch like Epic Rap Battles at all?
No,
no, I've never seen that. No.
Okay, there's one with Tony Hawk versus like Wayne Gretzky's, and literally Wayne will say, "You've been going downhill since Pro Skater 3," and a lot of people say 3 is the pinnacle of Tony Hawk series. I disagree, but
I disagree as well.
Yeah, I disagree.
But 3 was good. What about G? Did you put a lot of hours into that? To the third?
I did put a lot of hours into the third. My main complaint of the third one was I was kind of getting tired of the whole same gameplay loop that the 2-in-1 had.
Yeah.
And they still did the 2-minute time limit that that
Yeah,
2 and 1
mini
did, and I
combo.
just didn't
Yep.
like the levels in that game.
And I think it got kind of repetitive with the timer at that point. I think
Yes.
everybody just kind of wanted to see what can we do with Tony Hawk. I think a
Mhm.
lot of people at the time as well were kind of thinking, okay, can we do something different as
Mhm.
far as like really taking this from skating, just straight skating on a timed game to like make it more narrative and shit. What you're gonna see in the next ones that we talk about. Ray
Right.
Sherrod tricks were dope. Yeah, dude, the games, the tricks in all of them were great. But when the third one came out, they really had a lot of tricks at that point, and they were
Right.
fucking awesome for
Right.
sure. All
Don't
right.
get me wrong, the gameplay was still good.
Yeah.
It's just I don't like the maps where you go all the way down to the bottom and they reset you at the top.
Yeah.
See, I like,
No.
and that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why I didn't like 1 also, because they had some of the maps that
Yep.
did that, and 3 brought those back for some reason. Like the big one is airport. That's the one, that's the
Yeah.
main one that I remember that did that in 3, and I just didn't really like how they handled some of the maps. I do like the map Canada, and I do like the map Los Angeles. Those are the 2 that stand out to me in
Yeah.
3.
Yep. And yeah, LA. The
Mhm.
LA map. I always wanted to. It's this weird little thought, but I always wanted to just go to like they had a San Diego map in one of the, I think it was Underground or something, and I always wanted to just go into San Diego, like our downtown, and like see if they actually nailed it. But that's just a little side note
Mhm.
on that part. Let's talk about my favorite, and I'm pretty sure everyone's favorite, but my favorite personally, Tony Hawk Underground.
Bro, you skipped 4.
Sorry, Tony Hawk 4. Tony, this is not my favorite, by the way. This is not my. See, I didn't really give a fuck about Tony Hawk 4. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
So you probably don't have a lot to say in that one.
No, I mean, it was just, it was cool. The characters seemed way more skinnier. They had better graphics, new open-ended designs. They
Mhm.
did add new tricks and extensions when doing manuals. You can hold on to cars and like animals because they did.
Mhm.
You can go into the farm or whatever, or not farm, but a zoo in this game.
Mhm.
You can do spine transfers. I remember that was a big one on the quarter pipes and shit, which was super helpful because if you're switching from quarter pipe to like the other end of it, you could do a spine transfer, which helped out. The one thing I will say about 4 though that I liked a lot was the maps. They had Alcatraz, they had London, they added in Zoo on that one. I love, and they had Little Big World as well, which was really really fun. But I don't really have much to say about it, man. It wasn't like I wanted to see something different at that point. The
Which,
graphics were good, but
which is think of it think of 4 as Gen 2, but the first one in Gen 2.
yeah,
Because
yep,
this was the first one that took the formula that Underground took, and this was like the proof of concept in that one. So
right, right,
no,
right, right, right.
so they didn't have the 2 limit timers anymore, which is I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, yep.
And the
That's when they completely took it out, right?
mhm. Well, keep
The
in
whole
mind, like you
timers.
had to go find people
Yeah,
in the world, and
yep,
you actually had to go talk to them to activate the mission. But the mission timers activated when the mission started.
right, yeah, yep, yep.
So, and I don't remember if 4 was the first one that you can get off your board and walk around because
No, no,
I
no.
don't.
That was underground.
Yes,
Was the first
and
one. Yeah,
my big issue with 4 is it's really hard for your character to stop and talk to someone.
right, and that was a big deal. I
Yes.
remember that being a huge deal in that game, just because you had to like. It was weird, you know. You couldn't like stop. I mean, you could like slow down, but you couldn't physically stop your
Hmm.
character. So I know that was like, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, Tony Hawk 4. I mean, I don't think there's much to say about it. They did add some really good maps and all that good shit, but it didn't change much of what we know was Tony Hawk, and that's where we can segue into. Go ahead,
Hold
G
on,
Mills.
let me partially disagree with you. I'll talk about 4 you.
Go, yeah, talk about 4. I
Yeah,
feel like you
you.
got a lot to say.
4 was going into that system that I liked, but it went from the 2-minute arcade mode into a more
Right, right, yep,
talking about, but
yeah,
it wasn't really there. We wanted a story, you know?
Hmm.
right,
It
yep,
was just like, hey, do this for me. Hey, I want you to go spin around with
right, yeah,
a little cage or something, you know? It's
yep.
not like anything.
It was like just little missions, like
Hmm.
challenges, you know.
Yeah.
There wasn't a core narrative to the game.
Exactly.
And there wasn't a core narrative until we got to
The next one, which is what, Garrett? What is it? Tony Hawk UG. I call it Tony Hawk UG. Tony Hawk Underground. Listen, I'm gonna get a little too excited. Tony Hawk's fucking Underground was one of my favorite fucking games in Tony Hawk series that has came out. That game, I think they compiled all of these core mechanics of Tony Hawk from the first, second, third, fourth, and they added it into this one with the advanced graphics, with a whole bunch of shit. So this was in 2003. A few notes for the Tony Hawk's Underground. This was the Tony Hawk series peak, I believe. I think Tony Hawk's Underground was like that peak where we were like, okay, this is a fucking legit game. You know what I mean? And I feel like after this, it kind of went downhill, but they expanded on the map. Kind of what Factor just said. They expanded on the narrative. Now you have a story. Now you have a customized character. Now you can actually meet other skateboarders in different towns and locations. They had a huge customization selections. You can change your board. You can change your character. You can even make your own tricks. You can put your face in the game, which was fucking retarded. Nobody used it, but they still added it. Kudos to Tony Hawk for that. You remember that shit? Put your whole face on your character and whatever. The story was extremely innovative and the narrative was driven. One thing that I like about the story was that they really put emphasis on building your character, like to really, because you were supposed to become this huge skateboarder, and they added a lot to it. And then the big thing that everyone knows, you could finally walk around on foot, right? You can drive in this game. Like there was missions that you can drive. You couldn't physically drive anywhere, but you did have missions where you can drive with shitty graphics and box cars, right? But they were still fun. They had different maps. You can do New Jersey, they had New York, they had San Diego, they had Hawaii, they had Moscow, they had Kiss Rock concert. Like if you have a fucking Kiss Rock concert in your game, you're pretty damn legit. You know what I mean? And you can play as Iron Man, you can play as all the members of Kiss. It was amazing. And this is when, for me personally, because I'm a hip hop fan, they started adding hip hop tracks into the game, which I loved. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Tony Hawk Underground, because for me, it was the series peak. It did not get better than that after Underground, and I think it topped at that game. What did you guys think about the game, though?
I'll let Factor go first because I have a lot to say.
I'll say Underground, you got pretty much every point I want to hit, because Underground to me is like the peak of Tony Hawk. Then it started to go downhill a little bit, then like sort of became like a up and down graph for the most part. But like you already held it kind of like Underground is one of the best games. That's why it's constantly praised. And heck, there's that mod we were talking about earlier, well, off camera, that we can use to play, continue our lives with Underground. PC.
I agree, man. I 100% agree. G Mills, I know you played Underground. We talked about it because I love it so much. Tell the people your fucking thoughts on this game, man. What was it for you? Okay,
so my thoughts on Underground was freaking amazing. I remember.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I was on media blackout when it came to this game. I did not know anything about Underground. Did not watch any previews on it, because all I know is I was gonna go to Game Crazy day one, purchase it, and take it to my friend Kyle's house, and we'll play it on our Xbox with our custom music, because with Xboxes you could have your custom soundtracks. So it was a lot of Slipknot, System of a Down. So I'm the wrong guy to ask you what kind of music's in that game, because I never really listened to the music in the Tony Hawk games after they started porting them to the Xbox. So I don't remember too much about characters and stuff on Underground, but I do remember maps. You got like you said, I liked Jersey, I liked Moscow. There was a map where you're running from the bulls. And the funny thing was that San Diego map, my friend Kyle's dad, he recognized where in San Diego it was.
So was it actually like made off the real San Diego city?
Yes.
That's pretty dope. I did not know that.
Yeah, and because I didn't bring it up because I didn't really know what game it was actually from. I don't know if it was from 4, 2, or just regular Underground. But he did say that looks just like that landmark in San Diego.
That's dope. Yeah, that's why I wanted to check for myself, because like I just wanted to know, like try
Right.
to see.
So some of my memories was staying up late night listening to heavy metal on the radio.
And
'Cause
playing split screen with your friends. Hell yeah.
yeah, yes,
Hey, let me ask you
playing
guys.
split screen with our friends, but with the Xbox they had the system link feature, so we did not
Right.
play split screen. My
What I
friend,
do. I want to say before you jump in, because the split screen is so important. Let's bring back split screen fucking games, man. Like
why
that shit
online's
is.
the new future.
Yeah, but that's just so dime. It's different to play online with a friend and to be in the actual house and whoop someone's ass and like skate. You know what I mean? Like I think that. Anyway, that's a different side note. But yeah, go ahead, man. What were you saying?
So we played system link. We had 4 Xboxes, 4 TVs, and we all played system link together, so everyone got their own TV, and
Yeah.
we just all played together, did tricks, and the shot the shit on, and we pulled all-nighters with this game.
Yeah, it was definitely an all-nighter.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck what your parents say. I'm staying up and playing this shit type of game.
Yes.
Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that stuff. Yeah, Tony Hawk Underground was the pinnacle of the
Mm-hmm.
series. I think after this, we're gonna jump into the Dark Abyss right now, because I just gotta say, I know Factor, you're gonna fucking agree. I know G Mills are gonna agree. Tony Hawk just died after a
I
few of
wouldn't
these
say
games.
died. I would
No,
say
not died. Not after Underground, but it started to die after Underground. We're gonna see why with the next one, which is what? Tony Hawk Underground Dos. I'm just gonna say a few things about this one, and I'm gonna let you guys take it away, because I don't even really remember Tony Hawk 2 because the first one was so good. But I
I
did
played
play
this
it.
one more than the
Okay, I
first
want to hear
one.
that. But for Tony Hawk 2, the only big things were, for me at least, were I guess the maps, because I think you could skate in Berlin or something, and like Topia, a Skate-topia or something that they had, or
Skatopia.
yeah, it was some shit like that. And then you could spray graffiti,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't even affect the game for me. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like something that you could do. But I personally didn't even play Tony Hawk 2 that much, as others. So I don't know. You guys take it away, man, because I feel like you guys have more to say about it.
Factor, what do you
Um,
think? What are you thinking?
my problem is I'm trying to remember Underground 2 if I played it or not, because I don't remember. Like, I want to say I did, but I don't remember the game at all.
Okay. So,
So, you go ahead.
Underground 1 for me was a better game, but Underground 2 obviously had the better gameplay.
Yeah.
See, with Underground 2, the mistake that they made it all about Bam Margera.
Yes. Great fucking fact right there. Because this is the time
Mm-hmm.
when
Viva La Vam was
Viva
big.
La Bam Margera, like we said
Mm-hmm.
in the previous one, they were
Mm-hmm.
super influential in this game for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great
The
point,
whole
actually.
narrative was took place around them. They have him slapping his dad. They, like they did in Viva La Vam.
If I
And
slapped my dad that way, I would have fucking died. We wouldn't even be here today. It would be you and Factor. Just saying.
yeah,
Okay, I
but
couldn't say either.
the dad probably knew it was all for the TV. So
Yeah, he was getting paid, right?
yeah,
So yeah, that was that. Not much to say about that. I think we kind of covered most of the bullshit on that. You got anything to say about Underground 2 Factor? I mean, you said you didn't even play it, right? So
so
yeah, fuck
Underground
that.
2 was the one that
Two.
we played the most,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
this is during the time when every weekend we all bring our Xboxes to my friend Kyle's house, because he lived right up the hill from our high school
Yeah.
at the time. So we played a lot of Tony Hawk, Underground 2, and Fable at the time.
Fable. Oh, that was such a good fucking game.
So
Fable. They
yeah,
fucked it up after the first one, but the
yeah.
first one was such a good fucking game. Holy shit. All right, let's talk about Factor the game's probably favorite one, or the one that he's played for sure, which is what? Garrett? American motherfucking Wasteland. Factor. Take it away for us, man. Take it away for us. Talk to us about Wasteland, man. What do you think about that one?
So, Eric Wasteman, I did cover my channel. The whole thing's up. I actually did it with my best friend at the time because he wanted to do videos with it too because it's his favorite game of all time. He's a weirdo. But American Wasteland, this is where part of the Tony Hawk series starts to go downhill a little bit. I mean, it's a good game, but it becomes the whole repetitive same game.
Right.
You're
Spit
on
those facts. Spit those facts right now.
because little era, there's a Tony Hawk for the most part till like
Right.
2007 or 8, if I remember right.
Yep.
And it's just like basically after Underground, they just kind of repeat the formula,
Right.
and they don't really change anything. I mean, the whole goal was to build your own skate park at the end, but it's like, wait, we've heard this before. At least I feel
Yeah,
like we have.
right. Yeah, like we've seen this, and I have a few things to say about it. I personally don't want to rape fucking American Wasteland, but I'm probably gonna rape it right now because I thought that it was kind of horrible. I thought that the level design was horrible. They tried to do this whole punk rock, like it wasn't even punk rock. It was more like this weird ass. I wouldn't know how to describe it. This different punk rock scene. You know what I mean? Because type of thing going on. The loading screens. They said no loading screens, right? But there was fucking okay. They did have times where you can ride, like you go into the next level and there was no loading screen. But I don't know if you guys remember just riding your skateboard through a fucking hallway, which is basically a loading screen, an empty hallway that you have to go through so the next level could show up. It's basically a fucking loading screen, right?
So it was a big, like it was a hidden
Just
loading
a
screen.
yeah, like a big hallway that you skated down to get to the next level, but they covered it as no loading screen. So no, fuck you for that because that wasn't a no loading screen fucking thing. That's
No,
one.
I'm thinking what they probably meant by that was the 360 version because this is a cross-generation game.
Yeah, yeah,
The
and I'm a
60 version did not have that issue though. That's one I covered. So
okay. So maybe it was just that part, but I'm a PlayStation dude, so for me it was like whatever. Let's talk about the levels real quick. They had Hollywood, East LA. It was a lot of West Coast.
Yeah, it was mainly took place in that area.
Mainly West Coast. They had Santa Monica. You could play in there, which was all right. It was whatever. The actual levels though were extremely small in my opinion. I don't know why. It felt very very cramped compared to like Underground 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Like they just seemed very compressed. You could ride a BMX on this one, which was pretty cool. It wasn't like a game changer, but it was a good addition. I will give them that. You did have the ability to do parkour, like parkour abilities, which was all right. But the campaign was just short. It was relatively easy, and the horrible level designs for me. That's I just
it was. It's gonna say a paradox right here. It was short, but also felt drawn out at the same time.
right. Yeah.
So the narrative. So
yeah. Go ahead, G Mills.
so you think the narrative was extremely long, like the story parts, but the actual game.
Yeah, like
Oh,
there
okay.
were some parts of the story that was it was they just threw a lot of filler into it in the middle of it, but yet it was still short overall. So it's like,
Right,
what did they do?
Right. What did they add on to it? What did they innovate? Kind of what Factor said. It was just repetitive. I don't know if you said that for American Wasteland, but it was repetitive for me. They did try to change it up because like I said, the punk rock scene, and they did the whole mohawk, fucking leather jacket type of shit going on. But realistically, I personally didn't like the game. I thought it was not as good as the others for sure. I really didn't fuck with Wasteland. But that's pretty much it for that piece of shit. Let's talk about the next one, which is what?
One of my favorites.
Which one's that one?
Project 8.
Well, before do you have the downhill jam? You don't, right?
No.
That was the Wii version.
Oh,
No.
Let's talk about downhill jam real quick because downhill jam was before Tony Hawk's Project 8. They were the same year though. That's probably why people mix them. But downhill jam was the first one. Which fuck you. I don't even want to talk about it. It was just why did you even make that game? Honestly.
Why did you even bring it up?
I know. I wasted your guys' time. I wasted my time. I'm gonna apologize for that. Because that shit was fucking. No.
if I remember right, like the biggest problem with Downhill Jam was the the physical board you would ride would break. So
it would just break, and it wasn't even. It was kind of like the Connect. What's the point? That shit was horrible. You know what I mean? Like it did not work. And one thing I do want to say is they tried to do like a whole. You remember when they? I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is a little fun fact if you didn't know. When they started Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it was initially supposed to be downhill jam. So they wanted it to be like a downhill jam. That was their idea. Kind of like like those the BMX games. Is a downhill jam. You're in a singular course and that whole concept. But they scrapped it and made Tony Hawk 1, which was cool. So this one was like, first of all, it was on the Wii too. I played Wii, but it was like, no, fuck this game. Next one. All right, what's the next one? Let's talk about it.
Project
Tony
8.
Hawk's Project fucking 8.
Now,
This one was. Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Take that away. Take that.
raise
away.
your hand if you two have even played it.
Barely. I played like
Factor?
one time.
I've never touched it.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts, Hector? Because I have a lot to say about it.
I know you have a lot to fucking say, but I'm gonna say is better physique obviously and character animations. I mean, we're jumping from PS2 to PS3, the 360, so the animations and shit were pretty damn good. The core mechanics were the same. They were kind of slow because of the graphical demand, you know what I mean? Like same mechanics, but you had to play it slower because you're more animations, right? More graphics. So it felt a little bit slower. I did like the nail the trick that they added in there, which is the
Or the
like
slow motion?
The slow mo, yeah, I like that a lot. I thought that was pretty damn dope. You can mess with your damage as well. Like you remember when you fall and they had the whole ragdoll type of thing going on where you fall and you get points for fucking dying basically. And then they did have different challenges. So they had like amateur, you could play as a pro. And then if I'm not mistaken, Garrett, you could correct me. I think the last one was like sick or some shit.
You're talking about the different color gaps that you can do. Like it starts off with like yellow, green, blue, then orange, and the colors could be mixed up, but same things. The longer you grind, the farther you go.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So for me, it was the one thing I will say was the graphical enhancements. Beautiful. It was a beautiful game, especially for a Tony Hawk game because we've never seen a Tony Hawk game on the next gen. So at the time, this was the first next gen game. Yeah. It was a beautiful game. But personally, it felt a little slow for me, and I think that had to do with the graphics. But I did like it. I thought it was pretty dope. I probably would have dabbled with it a little more if I was a 360 fan, because at the time I played PS3 a lot, and we're talking 2005 or 6 or some shit. So there was so many games coming out that I probably just kind of flipped over it type of thing,
Right.
That was my thing on it.
Which is this game did come out for the PS3 as well.
Yeah.
Because it came out pretty much the same day as Call of Duty 3.
Right, and I was on Call. That's another big thing. I was on Call of Duty because that was such a huge game at the time that I played it on the Xbox 360 because I played it on my brother's Xbox 360, and I didn't really fuck with it. I was just playing Call of Duty, honestly. So that was like, that's my part on it.
So I remember when I was working at Target at this time back in 2007, because this is when the game came out.
Whoa, wait.
But no, 2006. 2006.
You worked at Target?
2006, yes, 2006.
What the fuck? I did not know you worked at Target.
Target Mission Valley.
What the fuck? What? Oh, all right. I didn't know that. I'm just gonna skip over that. I worked at Target as well, by the way, guys. Shout out to Target. Shout out to all the Target
I worked in home decor, health and beauty, then went to electronics, and went back to health and beauty.
No, I was in the market. I was just stealing food, honestly, for lunch.
See back in the day, like we didn't even have a market. Like it was so bare bones.
Oh shit, yeah. Fuck,
yeah, but now it's like a full on grocery store in there. So
yeah, now it's legit. It's in second.
So like
Walmart,
I said, I picked up Call of Duty 3 and Project 8 at the exact same time. Oh, so shit, I remember dropping $120 on both of those games. Hopped in Call of Duty 3, and I'm like, I don't like this game. So I popped in Project 8. I was actually playing it recently because I hooked up my 360. So for this episode last week, the graphics do look good, but they did look a lot better at the time. Now it just looks like crap
compared now it looks like shit.
Yeah. And the game has a lot of issues when it comes to the frame rates and all that stuff. Yeah. And this was like the true no loading Tony Hawk game.
Yeah.
And to me, like
Yeah, this one was really no. This one was a proper
Yes,
no loading screen Tony
exactly.
Hawk,
Because
which is good.
you do your missions, and let's just you start out in a little neighborhood that you grew up in.
Yeah.
Then you do a bunch of missions. Then they break down the gate, and you go out into the little city area. You do certain missions. They let you go into like a school or a factory.
Yeah.
And it's all just seamless.
Right. Yeah, I do agree with that. It was a very seamless
Mm-hmm.
game. And the graphical enhancements were really good at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
would admit that.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to like you do those slow motion tricks, and I think this is the first Tony Hawk game where you can actually do a full on front flip and back flip as well.
Yep. Yep.
And so the narrative on this game is Tony Hawk is looking for 8 people to be on his team, and you decided to try out to be on his team. So that's pretty much the whole narrative when it comes to
Yeah.
that. I don't remember too much of the story because it is over 10 years old. But this was one of my favorite Tony Hawk games.
Which is valid for sure because it
Yes,
was
because
a pretty good game.
yeah, it wasn't no underground, but
Yeah.
it was better than American Wasteland and better than Underground 2, then better than the game that came out afterwards.
Which we're gonna talk about next. Perfect segue.
Mhm.
Go ahead. What we got? What we got?
What we got was Proving Grounds.
Boom! Proving Grounds. So, Proving Grounds. This was in 2007. All right. This was Neversoft's last Tony Hawk game, which is when I really think they started just going downhill for sure. Because when Neversoft left, everything got fucked, right?
Right.
Robomoto just fucked that whole series up, man. They fucking destroyed that game. But anyway, this one was pretty cool. Proving Ground was pretty cool. There was a park editor where you could actually do a park editor in anywhere that you wanted on in the game. So that was pretty dope. They actually had a fully voiced protagonist at the time, like the fully voiced character. I remember that, which was pretty cool because all the other characters they never spoke. You can push off the ground for more speed. I think there was like a button for that, so you can gain more speed if you wanted to. They had a new balance meter, which was horrible. They should have kept the original one because I don't know if you remember, it had like the 2 lines where you like had to balance them or some shit like that. Fucking horrible. And then they added different maps where not even noteworthy like that. I think it was like Philadelphia. Washington D.C. was a big one. So yeah, it was the Tony Hawk's Proving Grounds. They didn't prove shit to me. Okay, honestly, it wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't anything good to me. It was just something to get and play.
Right.
I don't really have an opinion on it. It was just whatever.
Now, when it came to Proving Grounds, I don't know what year Skate came out. Do you?
I think Skate was around Project 8 time, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm thinking what happened was they tried to compete with
Project
Skate.
8. Yeah, they were
with
and
Skate.
I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember because Project 8 and Skate were both in like this, graphical Tony Hawk like skateboarding battle going on. And I remember I played Skate as well too, which was I like Skate better than I did Project 8. But yeah, it was that was the time for that one. Yeah, but Proving Grounds, I mean, did you play Proving Grounds Factor, honestly?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah.
Good, you didn't miss out.
Yeah, you didn't really miss out on much when it came to Project 8. Like it was all right. Like nothing to sneeze at. And my concern was they were trying to compete with Skate really hard in this one. You can really tell.
Which kind of fucked it up because now you have 2 of the same games essentially going at it, which is like it wasn't anything noteworthy. But Proving Grounds, it was an okay game. I would rate it an okay game.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
what I said earlier though. It's like the same thing. It's like when they release the same game every year, you lost people, So
right. Yep.
I pulled out of the Tony Hawk series around the American Wasteland, so it's like.
And it's good that you did because Robomoto fucking killed the series.
Yeah.
With this game that we're gonna talk about next,
the Ride series,
which you don't even have because fuck that game, right?
Right. Fuck them. They try to do the whole board.
Real quick, because this one's an important one. This is when they tried that whole board bullshit. one of the reasons why they added the board aspect of this game was because of all the other games coming out right now. At the time, there was a lot of different games that were requiring like an actual, like, remember Guitar Hero was huge at this time, so everybody wanted a fucking toy with their game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Tony Hawk fucked up in that sense, because Robomoto just wanted to, hey, let's join the bandwagon, let's make a fucking board, right? And it was horrible, and they fucked it up. The motion control board wasn't even seamless. It was fucking ridiculous. And here's the crazy thing, they only sold 100,000 copies of that game.
Then why the hell did they make a second one?
Exactly. Like, I don't know if you guys have anything to say about Ride like that. I mean, Factor, you probably didn't even play it, but I'm pretty sure you know that game was a flop at the time.
I think Rod came out when I was working at Walmart, and I remember a couple returns of Rod just because of the board breaking.
Yeah.
But that's all I really remember of it.
Yeah, it was a total flop. Let's talk about the next one, which is what?
5.
Garrett. Which is
no. Technically, it's the one it's the Tony Hawk HD remake before 5.
Yeah,
which is this one was
actually no. Actually, after Ride was Tony Hawk Shred. If you guys remember.
No, we don't remember.
Yeah, that was the this one. Okay, basically what they did with this one, because we're not even gonna go into detail with this. All I'm gonna say is what they did with this one is they took the first Tony Hawk and they said, we fucking destroyed Tony Hawk Ride and it flopped. Let's make another fucking board game. Let's make another fucking where you actually have to buy a board game and flop again. They only sold 3,000 copies in their first week of this game. 3,000 copies. Now, if you're a gamer out there and you know about games and shit, that's basically like
not even breaking. Not even breaking.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like not even breaking pre-production cost.
Right. Yeah, like kind of like Ray.
That's not even paying someone's salary.
It was what Ray said. It was embarrassing. Is basically you hit the nail on the head, Ray. It was fucking embarrassing just for them to even think that they could take that piece of shit Tony Hawk Ride and try to make another one. Like, fuck you. That was horrible. That was fucking horrible. Let's talk about the next one because fuck that game. What's the next one, Garrett?
This one's not that bad. Tony Hawk HD. They kind of took the best levels in 1 and 2 and mashed them together. The problem was they made it kind of cartoony, and it still didn't feel like a Tony Hawk game.
Right.
But it was better than Ride and better than 5. So I played it.
And this is one thing that I do want to talk to you guys about that I think it's important to talk about. We have a remake coming out, right, of the original 1 and 2. So with that remake, essentially it's a remake of a remake, if you guys think about it, because the Tony Hawk HD, it was like in 2012, they remade the first 3 games. They did have better visuals, the challenges, they added more challenges. But here's the thing, the game itself, I've played it too. It had a lot of fucking bugs, like a lot of bugs. It wasn't cleaned at all, and you can only get this game digitally too. It wasn't even a physical copy. You can only get it like on Steam, I think, or some shit.
Yeah, and it's delisted too, so you can't even buy it anymore. Yeah,
like, so the game itself, graphics, all right. And here's the thing too, with an HD remake, you would expect the graphics to be good. If anything, the remake. The graphics, if you're going for just like a remake of the graphics and shit, you pretty much hit it nailed on because the graphics were obviously way better. But if you're looking for like a remake that's like gonna add on to the game and be more, don't look at this one for it. It has a lot of bugs, and essentially it's just the same shit that you've seen in the first 3 with better graphics and more like fucking cartoony looking characters. Basically it. Yeah.
Then the last one in the series.
Real quick, before you jump into that one, Garrett, I wanna point out that Robomoto, the pieces of shit dumb fucks, actually tried to release Shred Session, which was another Tony Hawk game. The only thing is, this game never even seen the day of light. It was horrible. So that was after HD. They wanted to release another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but let's talk about the last one, which is what?
5.
Tony Hawk Cinco.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5.
So before I jump into the Tony Hawk 5, what did you guys think of that game?
It was shit.
You know what? That was a great way to
I have a
describe
story.
it. That's so simple.
I got a
Simple
story.
straight to the point. Let's hear this shit.
All right, so my best friend actually wanted to play it really bad because he's huge, and so he wanted that nostalgia trip. You know, I don't blame him. So we had for his birthday. We grabbed 5 for his birthday before I even read a review or anything on game. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So on the way home, I started reading reviews like, "Oh man, I feel bad because this game's gonna be awful." You know.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, let's give it a bit for the doubt, try it anyway, because I like bad games sometimes on occasion, you know.
Right, and you know, and I will add on to that some games that are bad, quote unquote, are the people that are actually rating them bad don't even know how to fucking play the games. So I never really, when I hear about that's a bad game, or that it has negative reviews, I don't take that to heart because most games are played by horrible fucking players that rate these games. So yeah, but go ahead, man.
Okay, I'll give you an example of that too. Like IGN, I don't listen to IGN at all because
No, yeah, fuck IGN.
Like, I'll give you the biggest example is Daily Prediction.
Horrible reviews. Horrible reviews. Yeah.
They gave it a 1.8 out of 10. And I'm like, the game's like a 9 out of 10. It's like beautiful and amazingly fun. Not the point. Tony Hawk 5, we put it in. The disc didn't even read.
Did you play it on the Xbox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Makes
disc
sense.
didn't even read. And it's just like, what's going on here? And like we were like, you know what? Screw it. Probably would have been bad anyway.
Yeah. That right there is just a testament of the piece of shit this game was. It was so bad that I had to stop myself from playing because I got bored. You know when you play a game and you just get bored and you're just like, it's just sitting in your fucking arsenal of games at that point. That's
World War Z.
World War Z, yeah, that game was shit. So this was actually one of the lowest rated titles in the Tony Hawk series, so that's expected. They had like level ups or like powers or some shit that they added in this thing. I think so, if I'm not mistaken. You could like level up or something. Like they tried to do the whole upgrade power up system going on in that shit. It had the same exact mechanics as we've seen in HD. Same fucking cartoony piece of shit characters and all that. Same exact mechanics. And then the balance meter was broken. Even when they released it, the whole game was fucking broken. I mean, you heard Factor's story, right? But when they released it, the balance meter was just broken. Like it did not work. It
finished.
Yeah, wonder why I was doing shit on that game.
Massive day one, massive update you needed to do to even play the game.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like Factor. Bought the game day one, no reviews. I had it pre-ordered, everything. I picked it up. I'm like, oh man, I want to play this. I played it for a couple hours. I'm like, ooh, not liking this.
That's what I'm saying. You play it and you're just like,
you know, like when you're getting like your dick sucked and then the bitch keeps using teeth.
I'm laughing because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, slow down. Like you're not even ready.
Just suck it, not bite it. It's not a lollipop.
Yeah, like fuck. God damn it, Garrett. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say about that. We're all in agreement that that game could eat fat shit because it was.
Yeah, and like
disgrace.
Like I'm not really into trading games a lot anymore. Sold that shit real quick.
And then some dumbass bought it. That's
probably, or my copy's still sitting in GameStop somewhere.
Yeah, or they just threw it out at that. They were like, "Fuck, nobody's gonna buy this shit. Just throw it out." Like,
you know what? I might just buy it and stream it.
I might just buy it and stream it to fucking torture myself or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking because as we're talking about it, I'm like, man, I think I should stream this piece of shit game.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking bad. It was bad, but you know what? That wraps up the Tony Hawk series, but pre remake that we're seeing this year. But that wraps up the whole series right there. So if you guys want to know like the whole series and you watched the podcast today and you've watched our stream, this is the breakdown from beginning to end of the Tony Hawk games. And you're getting that personal view on it. So that's the Tony Hawk series. What I will say about the series though is I do not blame the game at all. The game itself, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, is an amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they deserve respect where fucking respect is due, and we got to put them on the pedestal because they changed the gaming industry. They really did.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the gaming industry. We never seen a game like this before. You
Yeah,
know?
The Tony Hawk series is what they is pretty much put the extreme sport games on the map.
Right. They
Because
did.
other than
and
that,
they-
like you had some snowboarding games, but not a lot of people cared about that.
yeah,
It
no.
wasn't until like the Tony Hawk series, and then everything else in that category kind of blew up. It was Tony Hawk, then the BMX stuff, you know. Then it was
Yeah.
more snowboarding stuff got more popular.
Core borders and XXX,
Mm-hmm.
SSX, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and they started adding all that.
XXX3 mainly.
Yeah, so yeah, they revolutionized sports games for sure. It's just the only thing that realistically, let's be real here, guys. Let's be fucking real. Robomoto destroyed Tony Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it what it fucking is, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because they started when they came out with fucking Tony Hawk Ride, I knew Tony Hawk was fucked because it was no. They really messed it up, and I think that the game. Here's the thing: if Neversoft took back, you know, the rights to create the game and everything, I think they have a good chance of making it amazing. Like if they
Mhm.
really did a brand new Tony Hawk, not even a Tony Hawk 6, a Tony Hawk anything. There's anything other than Tony Hawk 6. Just a whole new remap of the game. I think they can nail it on the head, and I would buy it.
Mhm.
But the thing is, they don't have rights to it, and Robomoto at that point they shut down the Tony Hawk series because they fucked it up. And I think that with this remake, which is a perfect way to jump into our last topic before we end the podcast today, which is the remake. What I want to do with this real quick is we're gonna break it down real simple because I don't want to get into too much detail about it, only because we already know what it is. People have seen it already. We're excited for it. What I
Mhm.
want to know is your initial thoughts on the remake itself. Are you excited for it? What are your thoughts on it? And what do you expect to see out of the game to really make it a knockout of the park game?
My first initial thought was surprise because
I
I
agree.
thought they
Yeah.
lost the license after 5. So
Yeah, same here. I thought they did because they just started not putting games up at that point.
yeah, because the big controversy with 5 is the only reason why they released it at that day and time was because they're gonna lose the license if they don't release that game at that time. So that's probably why we got an incomplete product with 5. Now with the HD, I mean with the newer remakes, it is still Activision. I think Vicuria Visions is doing this one, so Robomoto is gone. And what I've been hearing on the internet that they're already even using the same code that the Neversoft guys use.
Which is smart.
Yes.
Because, you know, it just makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
that would
Yes,
be the
and
most sensible thing.
yeah, and Vicarian Visions did the Crash Team the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and the Spyro the Dragon remake. So, if you guys played those remakes, those old classic PlayStation 1 games, and you play them now on the Insane Trilogy and the Spyro HD remakes, you know Vicarious Visions did those games justice. So, I have higher hopes of this game. Now they could still fuck it up, but it's very unlikely because Vicarian Visions did 2 good games, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm kind of on the same boat, man. I'm excited for it only because we haven't seen a Tony Hawk game
Mhm.
in forever.
5 years.
And yeah, so I'm excited for it. My only thing is I hope that they first of all, I hope it's a complete game, which I'm sure it will be. But I hope it's a complete game. But I also hope that they bring back what we know and love, which is the Tony Hawk. Like, don't change anything other than the graphical enhancements. I'll be totally fine with that. I mean, if they add certain things and it works, fine. But like, don't change the mechanics. Don't change any of the core, movements and tricks and all that we know from the original Tony Hawks. Keep it the same with some good graphics on next gen consoles, and I think that we have a strike. I think we have a good game to hold us up until maybe the next Tony Hawk. But that's what I'm hoping. I'm excited. I think I'm excited more because it's Tony Hawk, and I'm like a Tony Hawk
now
fan.
you know about the new enhancements that they're adding to the game, right?
Yeah, I've seen the trailers and I've seen a lot.
Yeah, they're adding their whole reverbs, and they're adding some of the mechanics that are in 3.
Yeah,
so if anything, it's going to be a mixture between 2 and 3, which is that's not bad. That's not bad. They're adding the good stuff in 3.
Yeah.
So
the good shit that we know and love, I ain't mad at it. So I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. The Tony Hawk game, like I said, shout out to Ray Sherrod for being on the stream and everybody else that was on the stream. By the way, fuck the president. That was from Ray Sherrod. You know what? You got to make this guy a mod just for that, because
I already made him a mod. I should probably I probably should revoke his mod privileges.
No,
because I am the president of the United fucking States here, and I don't approve of this language, sir.
The president of these fucking nuts. All right.
Look, president of my nuts.
Look, Tony Hawk, great game, great series, awesome series. I'm hoping that the remake is gonna be as good, and I'm excited for it. I know we're all excited for it.
Factor.
Oh yeah, Factor.
Are you gonna play the remake?
I'm planning on doing it day 1. I will actually do videos on it day 1.
Perfect.
Perfect.
There we go. I'm gonna be doing videos on it. I'm pretty sure Garrett's gonna stream it. We're all gonna play it, so check out that. Watch out for that when it does get released. And also, just before we end, make sure you guys check out my Sunday Night Stadia. It's been super fun. We had Ray Sherrod was on it. We had fucking Gmillion was on it. I had my boy Nathan Tech was on it. It was a good ass episode. It was fun as hell. We're gonna do another one next week. Some new guests. It's gonna be fucking dope. So check that out every Sunday at 5 p.m. Check out my streams. I'm gonna be streaming on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Those are my official stream days that I've already made. So Wednesdays and Saturdays, I don't have a time yet because I gotta look at whatever my schedule is for those days. But it will be maybe sometime in the evening. Just check on my Discord. I'll put all that information in there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Factor, what do you got going on, and what's some shit that you're gonna be doing?
Right now, daily uploads of Alan Wake goes around up noon my time, which is Eastern side, like every day, and then eventually Assassin's Creed 3, and then more Alan Wake.
Now,
perfect.
Are you doing Assassin's Creed 3 Classic or the remastered?
I'm gonna do classics. I can't. I'm broke, so I have 3 already. I
bought
it Black Friday like 8 years ago for $10, so I'm doing that.
Okay.
Nice, perfect. Yeah, so there we go with that. G Mills, what do you got going on for the rest of the week?
Rest of the week, I don't really know. I do have another retro replay in the works. I just need to do the commentary over it. The hints are the game title starts with an M and Tree Frog.
Tree Frog. All right.
So
well,
don't spoil it in the chat if you already know. Ray, I'm looking at you. And other than that, just streams on my Twitch channel. I still have construction going on the property that I live at, so everything here has been kind of hectic. So it's like I'm kind of torn. Should I not even do videos, or should I just work through the construction? You know how that goes. So
right. All right. Perfect. Well, we're looking forward to all that shit. Hey guys, it's Console Gaming Radio, the only show where we could talk shit and have a good time doing it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Watch our next one. Every Tuesday, Thursday, we air at 6:30 p.m. PST time, California time. So check that out. Make sure you subscribe to Factor. Make sure you subscribe to G Mills and myself. We're gonna put all that in the description. And that's pretty much it, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of this fucking piece of shit show. Until next time. This is Hexzilla, the motherfucking game killer. And
before we head out, be sure to subscribe to my Twitch channel. My Twitch channel should be under my name on the screen. So, Gmillion2112. My goal is to be affiliate by the end of June, and I know I could do it. So
I know you can do it too.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody on this. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to everybody on the podcast today. We'll see you guys next time. This is it. Peace.
We ain't even gonna do a drive-by. We gonna do a motherfucking walk-by.
We about to assassinate. That's what we gonna do.
Assassinate and impregnate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, that's not happening, bro. That ain't. What the fuck, man?